Hi and welcome to today's class, the indicial or the exponential equations part 2. I believe you enjoyed the last video on indicial and exponential equations part 1, right? So please, if you haven't seen it, I would advise that you watch it first before this, okay? Alright, now, in that last video we said that indicial equations can actually come in two forms. Alright. Now, there are other indicial equations that can only be solved when they are reduced to quadratic equations. Now, you've looked at the equation and you've seen that it doesn't look like the two forms of indicial equations. In that case, it has to be reduced to quadratic equation. Now, let's look at these two examples, after which I will give you the ones you will try out. So, the first question we have that 2 raised to the power of 2x minus 6 into 2 raised to the power of x plus 8 is equal to 0. So to reduce this to quadratic equation, we can see that 2 raised to the power of x is common here and here. So we say let y be equal to 2 raised to the power of x. So if y is equal to 2 raised to the power of x, that means we're going to be replacing 2 raised to the power of x with y. But then if you look at the first term here, you will see that this is 2 raised to the power of 2x. Okay? Why we are replacing 2 raised to the power of x with y? That means here will not just be y, but it will be y squared. Good. So we'll have y squared minus 6 brackets. This is 2 raised to the power of x, so we'll just have y plus 8 is equal to 0. Okay? So we now have a quadratic equation to solve in terms of y. So the first thing that comes to mind is, can this equation be factorized? Yes. There are two things that when you multiply, it will give you 8, and when you add, you have minus 6. And they are what? That is minus 4y times minus 2y. Alright? So we're going to be replacing, these two will give you plus 8y squared. And when you also add minus 4y to minus 2y, the result will also be minus 6y. So that means the two factors are minus 4y and minus 2y. So we will be replacing the middle term with minus 4y and minus 2y. The essence of doing that is for us to be able to factorize in twos, in pairs. Okay, we can't just factorize given these three terms. So breaking it down into 4 terms, which is the essence of factorization, we will have y squared minus 4y minus 2y plus 8 is equal to 0. So grouping in twos, factorization by grouping. So when we group in twos, we look for what is common in the first bracket. Okay? Because like I said earlier, if you are conversant with quadratic equations, I'll still drop a video on that. You will see that you can't factorize these just like this. Okay? So we break it into 4 terms so that we can group and then factorize. So in the first bracket, y is common. So we pick out y. And when we pick out y, we have y minus 4 left. Then in the second bracket, we have two different signs. We have minus and plus. But then we will pick minus. Why? Because we are looking at the sign of the first bracket. We are supposed to have the same thing in the second bracket. So if we don't pick out minus, we'll end up having plus here and minus here. Right? So between 2y and 8, 2 is common. So what do we have left? We have y. So if we divide this plus by minus, we'll have minus. Divide 8 by 2, we have 4. So the second bracket is looking exactly like the first. So what is common here? Y minus 4 is common here and here. So we pick it out. Y minus 4. So when we pick out y minus 4, what is left? We throw what is left in another bracket, and that is y minus 2. And then we equate to 0. Okay, so now we'll have, picking the first bracket, we'll have that y minus 4 is equal to 0. That means y is 4. That's when you take minus 4 to the other side. Then picking the second bracket, y minus 2 is equal to 0. If recall that we said let y be equal to 2 raised to the power of x. Do you remember that? So for us to be able to find our x, we were going to be using the two values for y. That means we will have two values for x. So when y is 2, we will have that 2 raised to the power of 1 is equal to 2 raised to the power of x. Okay, so what are we looking for? We're looking for x. The bases are the same, they will cancel out. And then our x is equal to 1. Or if y is equal to 4, we will have 4 to be equal to 2 raised to the power of x. So expressing them to be in the same base, we will have that 2 raised to the power of 2 is equal to 2 raised to the power of x. So the bases can cancel out, and then we'll pick the powers. So x is equal to 2. So what are the two values of x? Therefore, x is 1 or 2. X is 1 or 2. Okay, so the second question we have, let's do that together before I give you something to try out on your own. So that second question says that 4 raised to the power of 2x minus 21 into 4 raised to the power of x plus 80 is equal to 0. So just like what we did in the first one, we say let 4 raised to the power of x let 4 raised to the power of x be equal to y. Well, you mustn't use y, you can actually use any letter, you can use p. Okay, so if that happens, we're going to have that y squared minus 21y plus 80 is equal to 0. Okay, so the first thing that should come to our mind is Can we factorize? Yes, we can. So we have minus 16y. Let's just go straight and factorize. I believe that the breakdown in number 1 will help you understand how I did this in number 2. So we have minus 16y minus 5y plus 80 will give you 0. Okay, so we group and then factorize. So in the first bracket, y is common. So if you bring out y, what do you have left? You have y minus 16. So we bring out minus and then 5 is also common. So what do we have left? We also have y minus 16 equals 0. So y minus 16 is common to both. So we bring out the common term y minus 16. So when we bring out y minus 16, what is left? We put them in a bracket, y minus 5. And then we equate to 0. So if y minus 16 is equal to 0, what is y? Taking minus 16 to the other side, y is equal to 16. Then coming to the second bracket, if y minus 5 is equal to 0, we will have it that y is equal to 5. Alright? Okay. So are we looking for y? Are we done? No, 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 we're not done. We are asked to find x, right? And we said let y be equal to, recall that we said let y be equal to 2 raised to the power of x. Okay? And now we know the values of y. So we can also know the values of x. So if y is 16, we will have 16 to be equal to 2 raised to the power of x. Okay? So now that the unknown is in the index, we'll express these two to be in the same base. So since 16 is a multiple of 2, we will have it that 2 raised to the power of 4 is equal to 2 to the power of x. So the bases can cancel out, and then we'll have our x to be equal to 4. Okay? Or we also have our y to be 5. So if y is 5, we'll have 5 to be equal to 2 raised to the power of x. Now, since 5 is not a multiple of 2, can we express them to be in the same base? Not, of course. So since 5 is not a multiple of 2, we can't find x. So what do? No solution. So if you are solving a question like this, and at the end of the day you discover that you cannot express what you have to be in the multiple of the base of the unknown, what will be your answer? You won't have an answer. So it means you can't solve it. All right. There's no way you break 5 to be a multiple of 2 so that it can cancel out and then you find x. So there is only one solution to the equation, and that is what? Therefore, x is just equal to 4. So at this point, x will have just one value, and that is 4. I believe it's clear, right? Good. So I want to give you these two questions to try out on your own. Try. 1. Were you able to succeed? Were you able to try it out? Is there any confusion? Now, if you look at these two questions I said you should try out, they may look a little bit different from what I've done. Why? Because of this plus one you're seeing here, right? Good. So if you have seen the video on indices, the laws and application, you will know that this 3 raised to the power of x plus 1 was because there was 3 raised to the power of x times 3 raised to the power of 1. And because they are in the same base, they were added. The powers were added to have that x plus 1. So break this down back to this. Do you get that? So that's just what you would do, and then you continue with your solving. All right. So please let me know in the comment section if it was difficult for you or you need any further explanations. All right. So thank you very much for watching. Do well to subscribe if you are yet to, and invite your friends over. Bye.